Thank you so much for joining us for today's Story of event, the story of Black businesses in Iowa. Just a reminder that you will receive an email from my colleague, Sierra Smith. Thank you for attending today's session and how to connect with the speakers today. She will also send a survey. Please fill that out. That's how we continue to provide free educational programming here at the Iowa Center. This panel today is a very special panel for me. Not gonna lie, when asked why I picked these people or these businesses, all I could say is I'm a fan. I'm a fangirl. I've known everybody on this panel for well over 5 years, I would say, and I've had the pleasure of working with them. They're not only great business owners, but great people. For those that are just starting your journey to becoming a business owner, it is vital to hear stories of others. That's how we connect and learn about what it takes to become successful. It's about sharing the wins and the struggles of running our businesses. So here we will talk about Lily a little bit. Lily runs a commercial cleaning business specializing in office cleaning. She is a refugee from Uganda. Her business's mission is to employ other refugees to help them transition to their new life in Iowa. Cleaning for Hope provides several community services, including daycare, clothing, and so many other services. Courtney Perry from Privacy. But come on, okay.
I'm just saying, she's cleaning.
Okay. Courtney Perry. Exactly. Courtney from Privacy LLC and Lady Lex Candles, Scented Candles. Let's say she's a serial entrepreneur as well. She has an event coordination business, which is the Privacy LLC. And you know what, correct me if I'm wrong, but during the pandemic, since event coordination wasn't, going, that's how you came up with the latest, correct?
Correct, yeah.
So she pivoted into making her own candles, and the business, of course, caught fire and has grown tremendously. Last week, you launched a subscription.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
a subscription box, and she's, of course, a source for a ton of corporate gifts.
Yes.
And Terrence, my favorite.
Oh, he's the favorite.
Yeah, I'm her favorite
Oh,
Terrence.
okay.
I'm
No,
her
no,
favorite
no.
Terrence. Yeah.
I'm just joking. I will say Courtney also, she volunteers a lot as well.
Yes.
There was a gas giveaway. She volunteers for the farmer's market. What is that, Lady Life? So many different things that she volunteers for. So let's. And last but not least, Terrence, not necessarily my favorite. Terrence's business, Coco Creative. Actually, let's go back to Advanced Media.
Yeah, that's right.
Advanced Media, doing business as Coco
That's
Creative.
right.
His business specializes in visual storytelling and brand building. He offers services in graphic design, video production, photography, and web development, amongst
Yeah,
others.
that's it.
Some of his clients include McDonald's, NBA, ESPN, and Hy-Vee, just to name a few. If you've been to a conference here in Des Moines, I bet you've seen Terrence because they're back there doing the video production at that conference. Okay. So let's, come on. So now, I'm gonna pick on you,
Okay, that sounds good.
since obviously I didn't give you the correct address.
That's all good.
I'll take ownership I take ownership. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your business.
Yeah, so my name is Terrence Thames. I am originally from Chicago, but when I was young, I was brought to Iowa City to be raised by my cousin who was going to the University of Iowa. So she was 18, turning 19, took me in at the age of 9, and college roommates and all, right? And she, her and my mom agreed to allow me to come, but that changed a lot of things. My community was and still is, my church. And I was sitting in 1994, that's pretty much where all the Black people were, you know what I'm saying? At church, right? It's not very diverse. But in that community, I started doing video production for my church, doing it as an amateur. That gift continued to be cultivated in that space. Eventually, I started working professionally at really before I graduated high school in video production. And I started working at the University of Iowa right when I graduated high school in athletics. And it's been a series of experiences in video production, eventually in graphic design, and doing some websites here and there. And we moved to Des Moines about 2010, about 13 years ago-ish, right? Hey, good to see you. And then a year after that, that's when I started Advanced Media Production Firm. I was already doing a bunch of freelancing, but I wanted to make it official for tax purposes. But I knew in my mind I wanted to have a business eventually. And so right around that time, soon after, that's why I got engaged with the Iowa Center and helping with different things, and TSP loans, and that kind of thing as well. But that I was doing it on the side while working full time. And eventually, through a set of experiences and working for other folks, I went full time in the business. And again, through a series of experiences, now we're have a bit of growth, and we added the DBA Coco Creative Agency to the business, and that's how we got to where we are today. So in between that, there's a lot of mishaps. There's a lot of learning.
Oh, wait, because I meant to ask you, can we talk about the major mishap?
Oh, sure.
Okay, so we're gonna get into that a
Well,
little
we'll
bit.
get into quite a few of them, but that is essentially my journey thus far. And it's a really good thing to still be in business right now, especially after the pandemic and everything. The business will take turns, and like things will go all over the place. And I think if you have just the mindset to kind of adjust to change, and also have a mindset to what can I do to have a really good business, not just my passion that I started and maybe I can make money from, but what can I do to grow a business that can, that mindset is continuing to help me today. So that's a bit about my background.
Lily, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your business?
Sure. My name is Lily Okesh, but a lot of people know me as Lillian. My father originally from South Sudan. I was born in refugees camp in Uganda. I lived in refugees camp for 15 years. In 2005, my family had the opportunity to relocate in US. And when I get in the US, I would say when I arrived in JF Kennedy International, the person who welcomed us to America, she was an African-American woman. She was wearing a black suit with a brown coat, and she was walking toward us. When she get to my family, she shake my brother's hand and my mom, and then she get to me. When I look at her, I was so stunned to see a woman in a black suit, because I'm from refugees camp. I never see any woman or female in a black suit, and I was just looking at her. And when I turn around the airport, I look at all these people. I mean, all these women, they walk with just a confidence and they feel so free. And I tell myself right there, I don't know what my future was holding, but I said one day I want to be dressed just like her, and I want to walk with confidence like her. So moving to US, I get pregnant, just living in US within 2 years, I get pregnant, and then my family, of course, culture, they have to marry me off to this man, even though I was in US, because I didn't know any better. Living in that relationship for 10 years, I always, even though I was living with all these obstacles, I don't like my environment, I don't like my the life I was living, because I believe that there's a reason why I chosen to be in America. I see America as an opportunity to better myself. And so living in that relationship, I captured that image of that woman in my head. And it doesn't matter what it is, I just want to get there. I want to be that woman. So in 2016, we always been fighting back and forth with my ex. 2017, when like I was like literally on my knee praying, I'm like, God, if this life is all you have for me, it's better you take my life because I just don't like it. And I find myself in a Polk County jail. Sometimes God have to take you a different route for you to see. I always tell people I'm glad I'm the one who went to jail because we get in a fight. Because if you were the one who went to jail, I could have forgiven him because I don't want him to, go through that. I wanted it better for us, but we were not corporate right. So when I finally get out of jail, my eyes open to see the difference, to know that even though I have 4 boys already, I can be by myself. When I started my cleaning company, it was all about surviving. I just want to provide for my boys. I did not have any knowledge of cleaning whatsoever. Megan can tell you because she was one of my clients. I just want to survive at that time. But when I see what cleaning done to me, I say, you know what? I'm going to start this business not only to help my family, but to help other women, for them to find their voice, for them to find who they are. And that's what I've been doing since. So with Cleaning for Hope, when we clean people's house, of course, they will donate to us like clothes and furniture and all this stuff. I'm giving back to the community. But my bigger passion is really to bring the awareness in our community, to let them know that you are in the greater country of the world and you can be better.
Everybody, okay. Right? Very powerful. Ooh, very powerful.
Beat that.
No. I'm not at all going to beat that at all.
Oh my goodness.
That was very, very powerful. And
I mean, your story is powerful. I will start out with saying that when I knew Courtney from high school, but when she came to the Iowa Center, you started coming when you was still at work.
Yeah.
On her lunch breaks. And when I tell you she came to every single event, and I'm like trying to hurry up and end the event or, or talk to you really quick. So because I knew you had to get back to work. So despite it all, like I knew that no matter what you were trying to do, you was going to succeed because you was making the time. It could be a 2 o'clock event in the afternoon. It could have been a noon event. It could have been after hours. So I just knew your determination. Period. You trying to escape. Let's tell us your escape story. Tell us the story of the great escape.
The great escape from the corporate world. Oh, I know that. Okay.
Yes.
Think about that.
Yes.
But I'm Courtney Perry. I am a Des Moines native. Been here all my life. Lord bless me. I travel. But I was raised by my grandmother. All my parents, I say that because, you have your sisters, your aunties, your cousins. I was literally raised by a village. I am the youngest child on both my mother and my father's side. So when you say spoiled, I was that little spoiled individual. But all throughout life, I was into the church, after a while, you kind of escape that a little bit once you get to like middle school and high school. So then I was a little bad. Okay. So of course, that's the time when you're exploring life and where you're going to be. And so I did end up getting pregnant at a young age, blessings, because I have no regrets. I was going to Hoover at that time, and good old Miss Stone said I was being too bad, so I had to go to Scavo. But my thing was, when I first got pregnant, it was regardless, okay, cool, I have a child that I have to provide for. And so now I need to make sure that I take care of her. So it was always make sure that I finished my high school. I went back to school 3 weeks after I had my kid to make sure that I graduated with my high school diploma. And then from there on, it was getting into jobs and trying to find out where your niche was. I would say my first job, of course, was at Tiny Top, but Into the World Water was an administrative job. And so that's where I started honing in on my skills of, just organization. And so that kind of found a joy, like I say, as long as you make sure you're organized, your life will run pretty swell. So of course, getting out there and finding bunch of different jobs in the corporate world. And of course, life happens. You fall, you get back up, you fall, you get back up. So I've worked in several different fields: education, construction, automotive. Yes, I was out there changing tires. Changing tires, taking care. I grew up in the backyard with dad as well as grandma. So, and what that was no escape for me, so make sure you take care of mine. And then of course, having a child. As times went on, you know, you have to kind of find out where you're gonna go in life. I would get to positions in the corporate world, whether department or industry it was, and I would find myself getting to the top and I'm not going any further. It was either somebody that was above me that was never going to leave their position, or it just wasn't somewhere that I wanted to fit or it didn't fit with me. So speeding all the way up, graduating from BMAC with a criminal justice degree in 2007, and, you know, just continuously working. We speed ourselves up to 2019 because there's a whole lot that goes on between that, but we're just gonna focus on where I'm at right now. I was presented with an opportunity from another icon in Des Moines, Iowa, Robert Presswood, with trying to help with his Clash of the Clippers event. It just so happened that at that time I was in a construction job, hitting that dead end. So I'm like, okay, sure, I'll help out organization, right? So we go through that event, it went off without a hitch. And from that day forward, I knew, okay, I could do events. I could host an event. I can make sure that it's organized. I can make sure that people have a good time. So I started doing my research and all of that. And so I'm a pretty private person when it comes to my personal life. As you can see, I did not share a lot with you. So being private, and of course, we're in that era where everything, you can put a blast on your whole life on social media. I feel like you should always be able to keep something with you. You're supposed to keep some of those memories so that you can just hone in on those. And of course, being in an event space, you want to make sure that you're helping people who are doing events, but they're also being able to enjoy those events and create their own memories. So privacy is a little bit of me trying to help you create those memories and bring that peace into your life. So that's where privacy is, and peace invested in you is what my tagline is.
Oh, so for whoever asked me why she named her business Privacy LLC,
That is your
that's why I was
answer.
like, right, because an
That
event
is your
is
answer.
social, not private.
And John Martin once told me, he was like, I love the way that you named your business because it always gives a reason for somebody to ask. So I did good there. But everything went off when I started doing all my research and my networking. That's where I found the Iowa Center. I mean, working, I had flexibility, or look, I'm gonna need to take some time off. I've got somewhere to be, because in order for me to know and believe in myself and get to where I got to go, I'm gonna have to make a sacrifice. So it was my lunch break coming to an event. It was leaving, or, you know, going in early so I can leave early so I can make sure that I get to class or something like that. I think our classes was at like 6 and I might've got off at 5. Might gotta go home, let the dog out and still try to make it, okay? So the timing schedule, you know, I came to the Economic Center, I had already started off with privacy and was already in the first events of what I was doing when I started to take the Dream Builders class. And so I never did really get to finish that class because the hustle and bustle of starting your business required too much of me. So I
Hold
learned,
on really quick. She didn't finish the last one either.
no,
Just FYI. She's
Didn't do
two
it.
dream makers. She
Didn't do it.
still has not finished.
What's
a donation?
We're gonna get- Right,
It's
we're gonna get
FYI.
to that hustle and bustle, but, you know, I did not finish that, but I stayed in contact. I still continued the class. I stayed in contact with TJ. She knows I'll email her quick. I think I got like 3 of her emails that sent out. So what you learn from that though, is that in order for you to make it, you have to sacrifice that time. You have to be manageable. There's gonna be times where you're up till midnight trying to, you know, make sure that things are going, but don't give up. Don't give up. On that journey, 2019, I did my first vendor pop-up show. I did a children's event, which is actually coming back this year. And from that forward, you know, I gained so much momentum. I built so many friendships just by showing up. Just by showing up and being my authentic self. As you can see, that's my shirt today. But you have to show up and you have to network in order to get out there. Find those people that will actually are like-minded and want to see you grow. There's organizations out here like crazy that are willing to take you and build you up. So along that journey, of course, 2020 was supposed to be the year, was supposed to be my whammy bam, thank you, ma'am, and it was not. However, I did come out of that creating a brand, which was Lady Luck Scented Candles, just for my sister suggesting, why don't you try this? Pay attention to those times when people give you suggestions and be open to criticism. So through that pandemic, sitting at home in the basement, whipping up wax like a science project, hoping I don't blow anything up or burn anything down in my home. I made candles. I gave them out to family and friends, did my first pop-up show with J&M Marketplace that was in Altoona at the time. And it has been great. It has been great. The networking has continued on, and that previous networking that I did is what made me grow so quickly. Those people I was already honed in on, they're already paying attention to me, and they're already giving me network, because a lot of your networking is word of mouth too, of where you gain your business from, helped me grow to where I am today. So 2021, it was hit the ground running. 2022, it was still continuing to grow with opening a brick and mortar store and getting a warehouse, because I showed up, because I have built those relationships in order to get where I go. So the one thing that I say, and I highly, highly recommend for anybody that's thinking you're doing business, or you're in business, or you're scaling, wherever you're at, don't ever forget to show up.
Okay, so, and I will say you still to this day, I don't know how you do it. You still show up to every event, you show up to every meeting.
Organization.
Okay, so I need a master class.
On your Google Calendar is what gets you there.
Okay, so now with you, I specifically remember you coming to the classes, and then one day you came to a class, you're like, oh no, I didn't have to take off time for this one. Like I'm running my own business now. This is me. This is my time to, grow my business. One of the questions I get a lot of the time is a client asking me, when should I quit? When do I know, when do you know when to quit your daytime job and to jump 1,000% into your business? When was the moment you knew when it was time to quit and just go ahead and run your business?
Well, my main job I lost during COVID, and I was already tired of that one, so I was kind of thankful, but at the same time, kind of scared. But I still held a part-time job, and so I got tired of it. For me, and that is when you're in a good space in life, and you have all these glorious things that are happening for you. You're in a peaceful place, and oh my goodness, what can I do? But then you have this little time that you have to go over here with these negative people, and they don't know what's going on, and they're so corporate, and they got to do this, and they're assigned to do this. I can't do that no more. That was my decision. I can't take what I have to do for you, because that same time I could be doing for myself.
So did you run numbers?
No, I just left.
Ooh, Lord. Okay.
I had already been, I knew where I was at and where I was going. So I do suggest, that's my next part is your suggestions, is to know where you fall. Know where you're at. Know that you are going to put in that time. In my wall of my brick and mortar store, it says entrepreneur. You work 40 hours for yourself, but know when you're gonna work for somebody else, you'll work 40 hours, but 100 hours for yourself. That is definitely true, and it's probably more than that. So before you decide to leave, know that you're gonna be okay, especially if you have children, you have parents that you have to take care of, you have your life insurance, all that. I had all that in place from meeting with a financial aid advisor prior to probably about a year or two before that.
Okay.
So I had everything already in place. It was me knowing that I have this stretch and I can see the potential. I have tunnel vision. I can see the end point. I'm gonna let this go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you did have.
I did have
your
financials
financials in mind, you did have the numbers, you did know that, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I can speak to that too.
Yes, sir.
I think, sometimes you think you know, and then you later on, you learn to know better.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, I think it's really good that, like Courtney had like the numbers part straight. I didn't necessarily have the mindset to do that, and it actually caused a lot of problems. I have a family, a wife and 3 kids. So my wife has suffered greatly, because of helping me on my entrepreneurship journey. And in my space, I'm a creative, right? So sometimes we get big ideas, we want to go after it, but in business, it's the opposite of that, you know? Business is the opposite of that, where that's my wife, actually. Yeah, so business is the opposite of that. You have to have a plan. And like I was just saying, me jumping out there caused a lot of strain on my family, caused a lot of sacrifice. Now, that doesn't mean I wasn't making money, but I tried to do business full time several times, right? And sometimes it didn't work out. It wasn't really until recently, like 2022, that I started receiving a regular salary, right? And even sometimes that was a little shaky, right? So that's the other part people won't tell you. You have to have a plan. You got to count the costs. You have to, like she did. And it's good to have a plan. The other part is people don't know, there's so many resources that give you money to do your thing full time. You can tap into that, that will make it easier for you to grow your business. I didn't know that. My village didn't tell me that, or I wasn't listening to my village. They were saying, hey, check out the SBA loan, or check out this, be properly capitalized, so that is a thing. So I think you have to know for yourself when you want to jump out there full time, but also listen to sound advice when it is the right time to have a plan. So I think it's a bit of both. So when match what you think you want to do with good business sense, and have good, if you don't have good mentors telling you that, about how to match up the business with your passion, then I will find new mentors as well. Does that help a little bit? All right.
And I'll add one more thing to that. No, there's gonna be those times of struggle. Okay, remember, you are your own business, so you have to keep going. There's no slacking, okay? But you may have those times, and just go back to your financials to make sure you have that cushion, just like we do in regular life. One thing that people go out here and do is they still treat their new career, we'll say their new career, as their hobby. No, you're full on invested in this. So when you get ready to step out, know that that is your new career, own it. Very true.
I think for me it's different though, because, when I started my business, it's really to survive. It wasn't a business, so I didn't have any of those. Even though I have Iowa Economic Center, I come here and take the class from here, but because of where I come from, I don't know anything about business. I was just going out there for it. And it's okay if you make that mistake, but you have to just be grateful now you are hearing our experience, and you have this foundation here, this organization, which is willing to help you in any kind of way. For me, when I started, of course, Iowa Economic Center was there, but I didn't know much about them. And I don't know how I can benefit from there. So coming from a different country, and I don't know anything about tax. I don't know anything about financial advisor. I don't know anything about that. I just started like, you know what? I don't know where this is going to take me, but I'm just going to start somewhere. But now we have Iowa Economic Center, Greater Des Moines, and all other organizations which is there to help you. And that is something that you can grab and, learn from there. But it's good to have people like us who will go through the hard time. So you can call on me and be like, how did you do it? I will tell you, like, I have those organizations, but I didn't know how much value they were giving me. But they will add this much value in your business.
Terrence, we know there are several barriers to starting a new business, or various challenges. What were some of the barriers you faced?
Yeah, I think in starting the business, some of the barriers are access to capital. Sometimes it's a knowledge thing, sometimes it's a network thing, but still barriers when it comes to how to have money to properly start a business. What does that look like? My ecosystem wasn't talking about those kind of things. And what you realize is, you have to be properly capitalized. You need to be properly capitalized in order to scale. Not necessarily to start, but to scale, you need some money. You know what I'm saying? So whether it's lines of credit, all that stuff as well. And sometimes, even in like some communities, it's like, oh, I don't want that money. I want to make it on my own. I'm gonna grind and get it. No, that's the opposite of the mentality. People start off with nothing, but even through private equity, through having that money, that gives you the flexibility to grow without being in survival mode, you know? So I think access to capital was a barrier. Network was also a barrier when it came to like that different level of mindset and thinking about different things. I think those are probably a couple of the bigger barriers there. And also sometimes access to resources when it comes to like, not just a support system, which is quintessential. You know, you need a good support system, people who will help you to grow, scale, think differently, put you on, as the homies say, like, hey, I got somebody who can do this, or do that. Even when it comes to just needing additional help for the business. Friends who will help you volunteer, people who will pull up at an event for you, you know, that kind of support it was also, those are barriers that I had originally, but yeah, those are a couple things.
Lily, what were some of the barriers you faced?
I would say the same as a capital and not having enough knowledge to know how to run your business and to kind of know who can be in your tribe to push you out and who is not, because some people are not there for you. So having that knowledge, and I know that when you take the Dream Builder class, they will walk you through all that. For me right now, when I'm looking back, I would be like, number one is have the financial advisor, and number two, have the accounting. You know, because if you don't have those two, especially with like sales tax and all that other thing, you don't know how the system works. But if you have your accounting, then they will help you out so you will not fail so deep in trouble. So many businesses are not making it because they all pay so much tax and they can pull themselves out.
The tax liens, but just always know there's payment plans available. When you do get in that, no, because I see it a lot. Yeah. So yes, absolutely. I agree. Yeah. Courtney?
I'm gonna have to third that. You know, we start these businesses out of our own pockets. You know, the money to register, the hustle and bustle of getting to where the different events, or, you know, just buying products and supplies, it's coming out of your own pocket. A lot of people, and like that goes back to the resources, you don't know that you can go and apply for this money to help you with this. You know, a lot of people don't know where to start at. So of course, the Women's Center is here, so we're definitely thankful for that and pushing those people forward. Finding great support team is huge, because if you do not have a good support team, you're probably not gonna do it. Okay, if you're a loner like I am, then you've got, you know, you can do it, then do it. I applaud the loners, but most people need that support system to cheer them on, to give them or connect them with other people so that they know where they need to go when it's their time. And then, of course, your team. Oh, I'm still working on that. So, yeah, because after you get to a certain point, you're gonna need help. And depending on the industry you are, you can only go so far by yourself before you actually have to build your team.
So Courtney, as you've all said, access to capital was a major barrier. Have you received any funding, or like, I know you bootstrapped to start, but like
Grants, I apply for grants.
grants?
You have to. I mean, it's free money. The only biggest thing that people don't apply from the grant is when you look at the application, you feel like you're not worthy of it. Yes, you are. What's gonna happen is, when you go through the application, you're gonna find yourself. You're gonna find where your company's going, because they're asking you the questions that you need to know that you probably had no knowledge about prior to. So when you see an application, and I'll give an example, everybody knows about the 1863 grant that came out. Those questions asked you, who's your target audience? Who's your target audience? Who are your competitors? You didn't know that. You probably, and if you did, great. But it gave you the research that you needed to do to invest in your company. And I highly recommend, when you do those grant applications, save your information, put it in a document so that you have something that you can either add to your business plan later on, or you can use that same information for another grant. So,
So let's be clear. How many grants have you applied for?
oh, well, okay, now look, they're gonna tell you.
I wanna be very,
You're gonna get told no.
Okay.
And what I tell people to do, and I can't necessarily say if you'll get an answer, is you can email them back and ask why. You know, see if there's a representative that you can talk to and be like, hey, why did I not, so that they can give you some insight. Now, they usually don't, but I take that initiative to at least try, but you're gonna get told, of course, with anything in life, 1,000 no's before you get told yes.
And also, just know that there's no grants for starting your business. There's no grants for starting your business. A lot of grants out there are for nonprofits, but there are small business grants out there. Sign up for our newsletter. There's grants listed in there every single week. But just know that when you're going through that process, it's not the easiest, and there's
Yeah.
thousands of others that are also applying.
Yeah, and that goes back to your resources. So like Iowa Center, you guys do send out a newsletter and it has grants on there. And, you know, a lot of people are running into your TikToks or people who's now text messaging and telling you that. Do your research.
So,
Do your research and don't click on just the link just because they said you deserve it. No, they're lying. Don't click on it, it's a virus. Do your own research. Just saying. I get thousands of texts, I don't click on them, but I'd be like, really? Really? Oh, you got, what happened to 15,000 waiting for you, just need to approve. Okay, stop.
okay.
But just do your research.
So one tip, if it sounds too good to be true,
It is.
it is, okay. Okay, Lily, what about funding for you?
For me, I did not receive any funding yet or grants, but I've been so grateful with people like, Greta Des Moines Foundation and Iowa Economy Center and all other business, because they refer business to me to have a contract. And I work with Ceres to start getting a government contract, which we get the DOT in Ankeny. So, yeah. For me, that's the way I went with my business, like you guys giving me a refer and me on the business, on the contract, because with the cleaning business, when you get the contract, it's already money coming in, so, yeah.
Yes.
Hey, Terrence, funding.
Oh, yeah, so I'm gonna tell you. the-
No, let's start with the good one first.
So-
Where was one of the first places that gave you some money?
the Iowa Center.
Oh, okay. We'll start with the good stuff first. Come on.
So, yeah, I got my first, loans through TSB loan.
Yes.
It was great for, I think about $4,000. I think I got 2 loans. And it was wonderful. It helped us as we were a baby business continuing to grow and for the tool equipment and different things like that. So it was great. Later on, let's fast forward to, to just pre-COVID. You know, I had a business credit card. We use that stuff, same one that I had early on, and not a big limit, but I would use that to do things. I've been funded, so that's self-funding, right? I've also gotten through the pandemic the PPP loan 1 and 2, and also an EIDL loan as well for economic injury disaster. That was good as well, and that opened up doors for me to really realize that, oh, different types of SBA funding are actually for me, right? So again, people have been telling us the whole time, like Donald Conley and Jane, I'm very good friends with, they say just apply, but no one in my system that looked like me that I could feel like made this seem real to me. So it was kind of a mindset barrier thing. Oh, I can go out and get an SBA loan. Oh, it actually is. They have, like, they kept telling me I wasn't listening, right? But also, there's also some, like Courtney alluded to, some some not good products as well that are out there as well. And I think whether it's loans that you pay for your future receivables, MCAs, high interest loans, right? Too good to be true. And so I've had some of those as well, and working through that as well. It's so easy to get, but you have to be knowledgeable. You have to really, if you can, find a way to buckle down, let your business be a business, right? If you don't need any outside money, you don't take it. I love what you're saying about you got money. We get a lot of money also through business. Sometimes it can be up and down, but we got almost all of our business came off of referral because for a long time we didn't do any marketing. So that's a blessing, right? And but you know, we've gotten funding in good ways and also in not so good ways that you know, we have to pay for. You know, put the strain on yourself sometimes and your family. And you want to watch out for those things. You know, sometimes even uninformed communities, minority communities can be more susceptible to accepting that kind of thing. Don't do it, right? Do what you can to really, and a lot of times we're not tapped into private equity, right? That's away from a bank and away from things, but we always see it, right? I just read in the paper, the city of Des Moines gave a forgivable loan to a great business here. Open loop, and you have the Iowa Economic Development Authority giving away loans for people who are creating jobs. That's another thing we don't do enough of. We don't think about our business as being a job creator. And you want to start there, but you want to get there because people will fund you if you're creating jobs. People will fund you if you're embracing a technology that's a software as a service. You don't have to create it. Just kind of private label it and make it solve someone else's problems. And people will fund you for that. But that, again, that ties into more financial opportunities for investment that we just in general don't think about when we're kind of scaling our baby businesses. But I've had all kinds of different varied experiences with funding and yeah. Well, we're still here, right?
Right.
You know, I want to add on top of what he said, about mindset. I don't know what it is with the minority business that we don't ask for help, even though the help is there. Like I think like 2 months ago, I wanted to apply for loans here. I don't remember his name, probably it's one of the guys
Jose.
here. He emailed me, he's like, I can help you put your number together, but I didn't take an action toward that. And it's just a mindset that we really need to know that we are equal with everybody else who have a business out there. And we are here to create a job as well, you know, because like everything that I do, it look great, but in my mind, I still think I'm still surviving instead of thriving.
And I do want to put out there that I think from hearing no so much, it kind of puts the fear in your heart that like, I'm probably not gonna get this loan anyways, or I'm probably not going to, but you have to know that there's organizations out there, there's resources, and there's people like me. You don't mind sending an email really quick and saying, hey, what do you think about this? Or, you know, I've been seeing these merchant cash advances a lot lately. And just people saying, hey, TJ, what do you think about this? Or just knowing that you do have someone out here to ask just a quick question. Now, you may have to send the email twice to me, but I promise you I'll answer. But knowing that there's resources out there, and like you said, Jose reached out and was trying to, you know, we're here and we're free.
Right.
Or you know what I'm saying? So that's the best price that you could even, you know, ever ask for. So how do we help Black businesses in Iowa? How can we support a Black business? We were talking about this the other day, like, I don't have a commercial space to clean, but how can we help? Courtney, I'll go with you first.
Support me just like you support your corporate individual. You go to Target, come to the Lady Lex Candle Street, that's down, the store is down the street. Don't go to that. I'm gonna tell you now, my candles are a little bit better.
And they last longer.
You know, it definitely is showing up. As far as social media wise, a like, a share, a heart, always a recommendation. Oh, I heard, why don't you try them out? Gosh, it's so many ways. But definitely showing up for them. If you see something, inbox, leave a review, because again, we are starting from scratch. You know, people are on the internet. Feel free to go on. Most people are on Google or they have some type of platform. Leave a review for them and just show up. Show up.
Lily?
I would say the same thing. Just follow the Facebook page for the business, and when we share something or we have some promotion, just share it and maybe add some of your word on it, because people might trust your word more than what the flyer is saying. You know, when you say this is my good friend, they will pay more attention. It's like, oh wait, that's your friends. Maybe I do business with them, and yeah, we still have to work on our mindset to get out of that and supporting each other. And I'm not a big fan of, it's part of our society, you know, like how can we start a Black business or different than a white business? I feel like business is our business, you know, but we just have to come into our mind, just knowing that we are all running business. There's a Black business too that is a struggle as well, you know, and this is just important to have a group of community being like, I'm here for you and I will support you.
I'm gonna add one more thing before you go to Terrence. But so what I have run into is like you see a lot of these businesses, but you don't use what they have. Or, that's just not your style. Recommend that to somebody else. Purchase something from them and give it as a gift. Okay, that's how you support. Just because you don't use it, somebody else could probably sell gifts.
That's good, that's good. All right.
And I saved you for last week because we had an in-depth conversation.
Well, so me, I am an advocate for minority entrepreneurship, for building generational wealth, and all this different stuff, right? And so I have been involved with supplier diversity for many years, and understand things. What I would say is, well, first thing I would say is, one of our slogans at our company, and I forgot to wear the sweatshirt today, is, impact over transaction, right? And really that's short for prioritize impact over transaction when it comes to how you spend, right? And it's not just about the spend with the companies. It's about, I can't say I give $20 to a Black-owned business, or I spent this at, with a Latin-owned business just cause. No, what's the impact of that money that you did spend, right? Do you think it made a difference, or did you just do it just cause, right? So just in our own daily habits as human beings, and I am talking to all of us because we all are in the same bucket, it's important to prioritize and think about what's the impact of the dollar I spend. If I say I want to make a difference with the money I'm spending, right? So individual first. Two, we need contracts, right? We need contracts and businesses, not only just from a supplier diversity standpoint, from companies that have diverse supply chains, which are corporations, but even when it comes to, even in our government, right? Our TSB program that we have for our state is not strong compared to other states, cities, and municipalities. And it's okay, right? Iowa was not that much of a diverse state that pushes the economic agenda for helping minority-owned businesses. So it just hasn't created a strong ecosystem when it comes to helping minority-owned businesses from a legislature standpoint. There's not many dollars set aside that are mandated to spend with minority-owned businesses to get contracts with the DOT and so forth, right? DOT is a little bit better than others as a department, but we can be doing so much better. So talk to your city council people, right? Whether you're in Windsor Heights, Des Moines, West Des Moines, say, what are we doing to help with contracts for minority-owned businesses, right? If you work for a corporation, what are they doing to be intentional around spending with historically underutilized ethnic groups, business groups to diversify their supply chain? In our area, you don't have a lot of companies that have systems set up for supplier diversity to spend. They barely have supply systems, let alone the opportunity to diversify their supply systems. But what it comes down to is those individual purchasers who are just like me and you, who make purchasing decisions, or those department heads who do events, who contract for the cleaning, right? Those people are humans, just like me and you and all of us. And they have biases that are conscious and unconscious, right? Sometimes less willing to change their practices because, oh, I know Bob, right? I know Jenny, I'm naming names that are presumably for white people, right? But Jerome, he has a great company, but I don't know him, right? So that creates a hesitancy to open up an economic opportunity to help their families for generations. Because this stuff happens over 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. This is how it works. This is why supplier diversity initiatives were born, because we had a hard time getting to these systems that were innocent in general, and sometimes not so innocent, to diversify their supply chains and their purchasing habits. So I think use your networks to help really create a space to create opportunity for those who are lesser known by business. The other part is create space to give chances and give grace. I'm the product of being given a lot of grace, right? Of people who are in decision-making positions who are looking for someone to buy the service because we're capable, or in many cases from those who are allies or people of color in positions of power who said, we're going to give this Black man a chance, this company a chance. And yeah, mistakes may happen, but we're going to help them build, right? That is in large part how we're able to keep getting work, right? Until we can build proof of performance. But I think it's good to give people grace. How they're going to build, how they're going to learn unless we give them the space to do that, right? They're going to be professional, but let's work with them as well. All those things I think are very important. And when it comes to how you can help a Black business grow.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
I guess we're about to hit 1 o'clock, but I wanted to see if there were any questions. Were there any questions?
What's the best way to reach you?
Oh.
All the businesses. Yeah.
I will,
At the
we
end?
will send out an email with contact information for all of the businesses up here today. So that email will go out probably on Monday.
Actually, I got one now. So did any of the panelists have to deal with barriers that include biases, and how did you overcome it?
Knowingly, right? Sometimes you don't know. You know what I mean? Biases. Yeah, I think we've had bias in our experience. We're a full service agency, so we do web work, production work, social media management, those kind of things. And you know, I think we have probably experienced biases where, you know, and some it used to be, and we're just getting out of this now. We were underpriced our services, right? And now we're continuing to have them be priced better, but some people still expect, because you're a minority-owned business, you're the cheaper option, right? That's a bias that I hate. And then sometimes I kind of knew where the sweet spot was that someone would say yes to, because I was afraid of being told no, because again, survival mode, you know what I'm saying? But that's not how you grow a business. So sometimes I have encountered those kind of biases of people reaching out because they think we're cheaper, or they want a high quality product, but expect us to be less. And that can be very frustrating, as opposed to coming in and saying, hey, whatever the price is. And we have great clients like that too. Whatever the price is, it doesn't matter, but it does matter. But we will work with you because you're doing great. So those are kind of biases I hate. We have encountered that. I think that you know, in this state, statistically, it's the best state to be a professional, but not if you're a Black or minority-owned business. If you're a minority-owned business, statistically, it's one of the worst states to be in. If you are a professional or a minority woman, so if you're a business owner who's a woman or a minority woman, it's also one of the worst states in the country to be in. So if you're a minority woman, you got double bad, right? So those biases are built in, is my point in saying that. And that's something that we just have to work through, but it's part of our everyday experience.
Okay, so in closing, what is the one piece of information or the one thing that you want everybody listening today to know? Lily, I'll start with you.
To know about owning a business?
Yes, ma'am.
For me, when I start my business, when I finally get my mind is like, oh my goodness, I'm running a business, I put my position into win or die. Like I have no quitter word in my vocabulary. So as a business owner, that way you have to put your mindset. You just have to, okay, when you agree you want to be a business owner, either win or die, you're not looking back.
Win or die.
Yes.
Make that t-shirt now. Make that t-shirt now.
So that my motto, like, I'm not here to quit, I'm here to make it, and I truly believe that. I know some of you were born in America, you don't see the privilege of America, but I see the privilege of America, and I know the value. I haven't been in some other states, so I don't know how bad it is, but for me, like, Iowa been the best so far for me, because the people here in Iowa, they will go above and beyond to help you, to help you with your business. Most of the people that I run into, they don't see color. They just see your service. They see the good work that you do in the community, and they're willing to help you. That's the spirit I have with Iowa, and I'm so grateful to be here in this state. And my goal moving forward, I have so many things that I'm doing, but I want to be to the top. Like, I don't like the crowd down here. So,
That's a good way to put it. I don't like it.
I don't like it, I gotta climb up, so.
Okay, that's another shirt.
Oh my God.
So if you're willing to do the climbing, I always tell people, you're either climbing with me or get out of my face.
Okay,
So,
okay.
you know, so that's the attitude of a business owner. You don't have to look at, like, because I'm a minority or because I'm Black or because I'm this. No, I'm running a business and I want to make sure it will be successful. Why? Because I know that my father owned the whole universe, you know, so I have no fear whatsoever. And that is just my advice to people who want to run a business or being into business. Is like, if you are in it, lock yourself to the mindset of, I have to win.
Yes, okay, I love it. Could you finish this out?
No, because I mean, definitely totally agree with everything that she says. There's a couple of different ways you can take it. You can always have a plan A, there's never a plan B. I'm a firm believer in that, but some people say, you know, you're supposed to have a backup. So either way, your goal is to win. I got a few different ones. Of course, have faith. Have faith. If you have a vision, then he will see you through it, okay? When you have that vision, it's okay to do a vision board wall. I literally have one in my hallway of my house. I look there, I'll stand there in the morning while you're brushing your teeth. Let me see, add stuff later. That vision is going to help you get it out of your mind, write it down. Those help. Because say you're in the car, I recommend putting a notebook in the car. You have a thought, you write it down. That gives you something not only to resource back to, but also to that thought is now in existence. You have now already put it into play versus keeping it in your mind is just a thought. Put your thought into play and make it work for you. And then while you're out there, remember to network and be yourself. Don't paint yourself to be a person that's not you, because you're never going to remember who that person is. Be your true authentic self. Show them who you are, the reasons why you're doing this, and where you're going. And your network will build very, very strong.
Absolutely. Terrence?
You know, what I would say is, you know, whatever you want to do in business, you know, let your light shine. You know, we all have inner gift and inner light, that's something we bring to the world, you know, and, you know, business is business. One thing I haven't done a good job of through time is learning is how to separate business from passion, right? Because my gift and my passion was on the creative space, but how I do the things doesn't necessarily correspond to making good business decisions. I'm going from the heart, not from good business acumen, you know what I'm saying? But through it all, I think people still see the light, you know what I mean? They're like, oh man. And like the intentions and the way that I look to do business still shines through. And sometimes it covers for the mistakes, right? Not for all the mistakes though. So whatever you do, I say, you know, do it with purpose and let your light shine. But also just remember that, you know, business is business. You know, speaking from me, being a family man, you know, you shouldn't And what's one thing I'm learning, you have to create good boundaries. So you don't sacrifice, your family time and your family well-being to make the business go. Cause that can create more problems. I met quite a few millionaires who, they gained what they wanted, but they lost their families, and that's not good, but it looks different for everybody. So just, let your light shine, but also stick to your purpose, keep a positive mind, but also keep reaching for higher, Sometimes we think we know what that looks like, and then it will switch on you as you learn and become more introspective. But reach for higher in your networks, reach for higher in how you network, reach for higher, not only for yourself, but for what you want for yourself and those around you. And, always have a good heart of service to still do right by others. And I think those things, those tips, that'll help you through. I think all good juju will come to you when you put out the energy in those spaces, Does that make sense?
Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you to the panelists. I would like to remind everybody to please visit the iowacenter.org, visit our social media page, sign up for the newsletter. Make sure you follow us and all of the panelists here today. I thank you all for sharing your stories of struggles and triumphs. And I hope that we all have learned something from this. And with that, I would like to give the panelists a round of applause. Thank you for being here. And I hope to see you next time. There are cinnamon rolls over there.
Get a raffle ticket.
Oh yeah, get a raffle ticket. So she's trying to make sure I don't win the basket.
So nice to meet you.